There are certain films and albums and books and just art in general that doesn't only entertain you, but they kind of rewire your brain, if I may. Like, you finish them and suddenly you're seeing the life in a different lens. And that happens to me often with films and with music and art. Maybe it's existential dread, maybe it's euphoria, maybe it's happiness and the feeling that you've unlocked, secret that no one else knows. Either way, it just kind of changes you. I want to talk about the films and albums that in some way changed my perspective on life and stuff. Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's start with movies, because the cinema has its way of making you feel like you're living someone else's life for 2 hours usually, or 3. And sometimes that's enough to wake you up to your own life in a way. And there are the ones that hit very different, and there are so many of them. Everyone kind of has their own film that maybe they find comfort in, and it kind of changed their perception of life or stuff like that. But I'll only mention a few of my personal opinions. First, I'm going to mention one of my favorite movies, which is A Woman Under the Influence. This film is in my top 4 favorite movies of all time. Jenna Rollins delivers one of the most raw, devastating performances of all time, honestly. And this movie is a gut punch about love, mental illness, and the pressures of conforming to what society expects of you. And this film is just, like, in my opinion, fitting for everyone, not only at this moment in time, but in general. So if you haven't watched it, I highly recommend. It's an older one though. Another is a 5-star film as well. And for me, it's not in my top 4 favorites, but it's like really high up. And it's The Elephant Man by David Lynch, at his most heartbreaking. And this is a deeply human story about dignity, human cruelty, and the search for acceptance in a world that fears what it doesn't understand. You get me? I hope you do. And I always cry to this film, so you should definitely watch it. I really recommend it. It's really good. And it's also like one of the older ones that I'll be mentioning. The next one is I Saw the TV Glow. And this one is new, I think last year. But it feels like a future cult classic, even though I haven't met many people who have seen it or even heard of it. But you totally should, because it's absolutely amazing. It's a movie about surreal exploration of nostalgia, identity, and the feeling of being an outsider looking in. In a way, I don't want to tell too much. It's a really good movie, and I love the cinematography of it. Next movie I just feel like I need to mention is sort of whimsical visual love letter to the beauty in, I don't know, slow life and small moments, and it's Amélie. It's an amazing film. It's French. Oh, everyone knows it, so it makes you want to romanticize life to its fullest and pay attention to details, even in the most mundane moments of your life. And that's very beautiful, and I think everyone should watch it at least once. That's just my opinion, you know. Not everyone loves movies. Also, the visuals and the coloring of this film is so magical and so beautiful. I love it. It's really comfy in a way. And honestly, what I don't know. Honestly, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is another must-watch from me. And I had to watch this film a few times, like 3 or 4 times, before I truly understood it. Well, not understood, but I don't know how to explain it. Yeah. For it to hit me, kind of load up into my mind, to my brain. I don't know if that makes sense, but it doesn't just make you rethink love, which it does. It makes you rethink memory itself, and also the concept of time at some point, in my opinion. And the idea that forgetting someone doesn't erase their impact on you. And that is just gut-wrenching. It's like looking at nostalgia under a microscope. And we all know that nostalgia is slightly uncomfortable, so watch it if you don't mind that. But it's a really good movie, in my opinion. And last but not least, out of films, I want to mention Good Will Hunting. Probably my favorite performance by Robin Williams. It's like therapy, but make it cinematic, honestly. And it makes you confront the idea that intelligence without emotional vulnerability is basically just self-imposed exile. So yeah, low-key deep. Oh, and I forgot about this one. That's the last film I want to mention, and it's The Life of Veronique. Veronique is just like pure poetry, and it explores intuition, duality, and the idea that somewhere someone might be living a life parallel to yours, which is interesting, and I think I like the idea, but I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, it's a good film. And movies like this like make you think and wonder, and sometimes like rethink life itself even, and they make you feel like you've lived another life for the amount of time that you spent watching it. So take of that what you will. This is only my opinion. Now let's dive into music. And music is different from film, obviously, because it bypasses your logic and goes straight for your emotions, which is great and gut punching at certain points. These albums that aren't just sounds, they're a full body experience, at least for me. You know, you might have different opinion on these, but let's go. First off is Blonde by Frank Ocean. It's a truly amazing album. I love it, and this album makes you nostalgic in a way for things that you never even experienced maybe, and it's like a dream. It's like a vivid dream that you don't want to wake up from. I feel like that's the experience for me, okay? And I love all the songs on it. Next up is an album by Phoebe Bridgers, and it's Punisher. I love this album. My god, this is incredible album. It makes you feel like you're a main character, kind of in a coming-of-age film. But everything is actually tragic, and that's where the beauty lies in it, I feel like. It's really good. You should listen to it. Next one, I want to say, it's probably one of my favorite albums ever, and it's Melodrama by Lorde. I love Lorde, but this album just is so special. It's so amazing. I feel like it's a modern classic, and it captures that bittersweet feeling of adulthood, heartbreak, and self-discovery in a way that feels deeply personal. I recommend. Connected to film, I just have the need to mention Call Me By Your Name soundtrack. Yo, this is an experience on its own. It is one of those soundtracks that transports you to a specific moment in time. I do feel like I'm in somewhere in northern Italy when I listen to it. It's nostalgic and a whole summer melancholy. It's just so incredible. And next one is The Idler Wheel by Fiona Apple. It's raw, it's poetic. It makes you rethink what vulnerability in music should really sound like. Incredible. Nothing more to say. And now their album that I want to mention is by Joni Mitchell. It's Blue, and it's definitely timeless in my opinion. It's vulnerable, and every lyric feels like it was written in a moment of complete raw honesty. I really love raw expression in music. And then I want to say the Beatles. I want to just say that I love all their music, but my favorite album is probably Abbey Road or Revolver, but actually Abbey Road is probably my favorite. I know it's like probably the most famous one, but whatever, it's good. It's famous for a reason. And basically I think it's a blueprint for how music can be both revolutionary and also deeply personal, which is really cool. And you know, it's just the Beatles. Like, what am I supposed to say? They're cool. Yeah. And last, I want to mention Charm by Clairo. I feel like this album is so beautiful. It's like so cute and so beautiful. It's like dreaming in a way, with like nostalgia and melancholy intertwined, and the way that she like blends like soft and like wistful melodies with like sort of devastating lyrics sometimes, or like really like lyrics, whatever. It's really beautiful, and it makes it one of my favorite albums, and sometimes make you think past relationships and mistakes and fleeting moments and the beauty and sadness sometimes too. Love it. It's incredible. I think we all crave these kind of films and albums because they make us feel more alive in a way, maybe more seen, more confused in a way that's weirdly comforting. And I mean, art in general is just like very personal, and it forces you to sit with yourself and with your thoughts, and sometimes that's exactly what we need in that exact moment that we seek out art. So yeah, that's my opinion, and these are my picks. So if you want to tell me yours, then feel free. But that is all from me today. I just wanted to thank you for tuning in and hanging out with me and listening to this, and maybe give a listen to the albums or watch that movie. And yeah, I enjoyed it very much. See you soon.